Boom, 180. Big 180.
Domination on the road.
I was just itching to get out to the field again and be able to prove myself.
Led by the running man, quarterback Riley Leonard.
That's that guy. That's what I was thinking. Shoot.
We were joking on the bus. We're like Lamar Leonard or whatever.
The Irish steamrolled the Boilers, putting up 66 points.
By the end of the first half, I felt bad for the Purdue quarterback. I don't even know the kid. I'm like, this can't be this can't be any fun.
But the passing game, or lack of, has the Irish faithful on edge.
It's about what's going to have success against the defense you're going against.
We're a little bit of a work in progress.
Notre Dame is back in action.
I've been a diehard Notre Dame fan since probably the first thing my parents taught me.
Welcoming Miami, Ohio, and a familiar face to the house that Rockne built.
You just got to keep putting the gas on the pedal and just keep going.
Boom.
This is ABC57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
The fog is lifting, an absolutely beautiful day here on the campus of Notre Dame, high above the Golden Dome. We're taking a look out there on the campus, and of course, Irish fans are ready to go. Get these tailgates a-rocking as the Irish get set to take on Miami, Ohio, an unranked MAC team. No problem, right? Yeah. Well, let's hope so. If we've learned anything from the past few weeks, it's to expect the unexpected. Welcome to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes.
I'm Vahid Sadrazadeh. Cautious optimism is what I would call it today. You had a little mystic morning with the fog. The tailgates, people were trying to get in early. We had that video shared between our text group earlier this morning. People are excited, but I think they're cautiously optimistic. Another MAC opponent coming to South Bend.
Yeah, not to call you out, but you said the Irish were going to put up 50 points against NIU.
They did against Purdue. Not against NIU. Yeah, a week later. What a difference 1 week makes, though. Road rage, an awakening, whatever you want to call it. The Irish absolutely rocked Purdue last week, 66-7. The most lopsided loss in Boilermakers history, in fact. 4 different Notre Dame players scored a rushing touchdown, something that has not happened since 2000 against USC, while the defense simply shut down Purdue, allowing only 162 yards of total offense. And despite the big win, Notre Dame fans obviously still haunted, still upset by that loss to Northern Illinois, and many fear the Irish will fall trap to another MAC team today that's unranked.
We'll see about that, but no question, Notre Dame was the better team last week in West Lafayette. But the matchup did raise some concerns about that Irish passing game. Notre Dame also lost a few starters to injuries. So let's check in now with our Levon Whitaker, who's live outside of Notre Dame Stadium. Hey, Levon.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Yeah, listen, this has been an up and down start to the season for the Irish. There's no doubt about that. We know what took place here 2 weeks ago against Northern Illinois. We don't really have to go down memory lane. No need for that. But after that matchup and after that loss, head coach Marcus Freeman told this team they need to learn how to handle success. It was evident they didn't do that after the big win over Texas A&M. But we know one thing for certain. They can definitely handle failure.
One word, 5 letters. Shoot. When asked to describe the roller coaster start to the season, Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love said it best.
I mean, last week we didn't play to our standard, and we just got to play to our standard, and this week we did, so
Only 14 total points scored in the loss to NIU.
Just don't underestimate your opponent.
To 66 points in a blowout win at Purdue.
If your opponent is projected to be not better than you, I mean, that should give you more motivation to just dominate them even more.
The dominance came at a cost.
Jordan Botello will be out for the season with a knee injury. Ashton Craig will be out for the season with a knee injury. Billy Stroff will be out for a few weeks with an ankle injury.
But when one man goes down,
next man's up. You could be, third on the depth chart. You never know what might happen. And when somebody goes down, the next person's ready to go. And we prepare like that.
Love's preparation helped him cross the end zone to start the game. Well, his quarterback, Riley Leonard, 3 rushing touchdowns, 100 yards passing and on the ground. becoming the first for a college quarterback since Lamar Jackson in 2016.
That's that guy. That's what I was thinking. Shoot.
Leonard had trouble staying on the field in week 2. And on the road at Purdue, he was benched for the entire second half after giving the Irish a 42-point lead.
I learned the hard way last Saturday, but I think it's important that, I learned from that, and after a game like this, you can't get too high, you can't get too low.
The importance of maintaining an even-keel mentality. But as the Irish get ready for another MAC opponent, will the pain of week 2 resurface?
That thing was over. Man, that thing was in the box for me, at 10:30 on Sunday. So, you got to move on.
Or serve as an advantage.
It's a pit in your stomach that, as a competitor, you can't get rid of. Use it as fuel, as motivation. And so, week 10, I don't think we're going to forget what happened week 2. That's for sure.
Ultimately, it comes back to one way of thinking and one word.
Shoot, make your team look even better than what people say. I mean, just play to your hardest. That's all I got to say.
Oh, shoot, I can't sum it up any better than what Jeremiah Love just did right there. He said it about 20 times in this post-game interview after that win over Purdue, because that's the only way to describe it, guys. So, hey, Allison and Vahid, shoot, back to you. I don't know what else to say here.
Well, shucks. That's all I have to say. I mean, Levon, in all seriousness and reality, we didn't know what to expect from this Irish running back core preseason coming into the season, but they have really been dominant, even with a banged-up offensive line. And we heard something from Marcus Freeman earlier this week during the press conference. He said, this is our identity. They are doubling down. You heard the same thing. You've been around those players. They really feel like they can win all of these games this year with that running attack.
They have a ton of confidence, even with the banged-up offensive line. I mean, coming into this season, we were questioning, will the run game be as potent as it was last year with Audric Estime behind this inexperienced offensive line? They've been great, and it's been led by a sophomore, Jeremiah Love. We were just talking about this a few days ago when he came on campus to decide that he was going to sign here to Notre Dame, and now 2 years later, he's the man in that running back room, and it's a really good job by running backs coach Dylan McCullough. He's done a great job with this entire group.
Absolutely. All right, Levon, thank you. We'll check back in with you in just a bit. Now, as impressive as Notre Dame was at Purdue, the Irish cannot afford to lose a second game at home to a Mid-American Conference team, period. And Miami, Ohio is hungry. The Redhawks still looking for their first win of the season after losing to two legit teams, Northwestern and rival Cincinnati, last week. They are led by quarterback Brett Gabbert, the younger brother of longtime NFL backup Blaine Gabbert. The Redhawks were a heavy preseason favorite to win their second straight MAC title, but have struggled to run the ball with only 124 total yards this season, averaging 1.4 yards per carry. And that 124 makes it sound better than it is. Now, he's passing lights out, more than 300 yards last week. It's his sixth career 300-yard passing game for Gabbert, but they've combined for a grand total of 64 rushing yards as a team in their first two games.
Well, we didn't really know that much about NIU coming into this stadium either, but this is what I'll say. Through 3 games, the Notre Dame defense is stout, and they are good. And what I know is if they clog up the middle, don't let the rushing attack, which they did against NIU, burst up the middle, get to that second level. I think Notre Dame should be in good shape today. Well, there's still much more to come here on ABC57 Kickoff. Former Notre Dame and NFL safety Matthias Farley is here, and he's going to be live right after the break. But first, here's a sneak peek at what's coming up throughout today's show.
Cleats for a Cause.
These are my cleats that I have.
Wow.
We got the Center for the Homeless on there.
Oh my gosh.
The Irish break out some fancy footwear to help local charities. Hometown hero. Notre Dame linebacker and captain Jack Kaiser returns to his Pioneer stomping grounds with a game day surprise.
It's a big deal to them. It's a big deal to me.
We know Riley Leonard and the Irish can run.
You still have to be committed to running the ball. And, That's what our identity is.
But they need some air. We break down the passing game struggles. Plus, Freeman's focus for Miami, Ohio.
Ma'am, welcome to Notre Dame. Thank you. It is well worth the wait.
A Notre Dame game day experience, nearly 90 years in the making. And it did not disappoint.
It's been the most exciting day I've had in my life.
On the mend, a tough blow for the Irish on the injury front after 3 linemen go down at Purdue. And, hey, Grandpa, this one's for you.
I kind of just whispered in his ear, and I was like, hey, Grandpa, I'm going to go to Notre Dame.
Putting on a Notre Dame uniform fulfills a dream for offensive lineman Rocco Spindler.
Well, this is one of my favorite segments of the entire show every single week. We're joined now by former Notre Dame and NFL safety Matthias Farley, a first-timer legend here on ABC 57 Kickoff. Welcome.
Yeah, awesome.
Matthias.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, super good to be here. I love y'all's show.
Thank you.
Honored to be a part of it.
Yeah,
well,
glad you're here.
My favorite part of this segment is getting to rattle off all of the stats, remind our viewers of just how good you were back in the day. So here we go. In 4 seasons at Notre Dame, you recorded 192 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 8 interceptions, and 13 pass defenses, 1 forced fumble, and you just finished up a 7-year NFL career. Awesome. I could go on all day with your NFL stats as well, but we got to kind of get to this interview, you know.
I don't remember actually having that many tackles. That's nice to
see. Well, you know, today you're here, and you've actually got some personal connections to Miami, Ohio, by the way, and you played for Redhawks head coach Chuck Martin when he was an assistant here. Did he recruit you?
He was involved in the recruiting process, but he wasn't my specific recruiter, but I mean, I talked to him all the time. And
he would have been DB's coach when you first came in and then transitioned over to OC.
So right when I switched to defense, so I missed him. Yeah.
And then you also played with Robert Blanton, who's now currently the safeties coach for the Redhawks.
He's also from Charlotte. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. He went to high school like 15 minutes from me. Yeah.
Oh, that's
small
awesome.
World. Super small world.
Your old teammate, we talked about Evan Sharpley, former Notre Dame quarterback earlier, and I brought this up to him the other night, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. The Notre Dame defense right now, true or false, and why? Notre Dame's defense right now can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the country. We even had Manti on a few weeks ago, and he said they're one of the best in the nation. Do you agree?
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah, I think it all starts up front, and you also have an incredible secondary, which allows, the front 7 to get unleashed, and the guys can cover behind it, which, it just frees up your entire playbook as a defense. So, and they run to the ball. You watch it, it's very obvious on tape for sure.
Well, you mentioned it, but you kind of similar to this year's Xavier Watts. You came in as a wide receiver, but then you made that transition over to safety. Xavier Watts doing the exact same thing. You guys make it look easy, like it was no-brainer to make that switch. But I have to imagine there's quite a bit that goes into making a position transition like that.
Well, I think it's funny to be mentioned in the same, echelon as Xavier Watts. He's unbelievable. It's a big transition, I think, though. You look at him, he obviously has great ball skills, having played receiver. He's a leader. He carries himself super, above board off the field. I haven't met him personally, but, his reputation precedes him. So he's an incredible player. He always makes plays. He's always around the ball. You can tell he's making a lot of checks back there, and, that's what you want out of a safety ultimately.
Is that one of those things where you just do whatever the coaches say they need you to do?
Yeah, and also, there's – for myself, when I was here, I knew that I would never play wide receiver. We had Theo Riddick. We had Robbie Toma. We had Will Fuller. We had all these guys that were right in front of me. I was like, there's no chance. So for me, it was a way to get on the field, in a different route. I'm sure X could have played receiver at a high level, but it's working out pretty well for him, I would say, so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, also, I read a really cool article about you, and it was you had the opportunity to start for the Carolina Panthers, and it's your hometown. You're a Charlotte guy, and that was a tough season, and you guys ended up losing that game, and I think fell to 0-6 at that point. And you stayed back, and you hung out, and you picked up all of the trash in the locker room. What was sort of behind that? What was the significance of that for you?
Well, for me, it's just about, you want to leave places better than you found them. Life's going to be up and down. There's going to be roller coasters. Obviously the game did not go how we wanted it to go, but to lose a game and then leave a locker room, not in at least decent order for whoever had to come and clean up after us just didn't seem right. So I just, I didn't really think anything of it at the time. I was just like, well, I have some messy stuff, and then I just started picking up and just kept going.
Let's go back to this football team before we get to your future. Let's talk about Notre Dame's future a little bit. And how do you – let's look at the NIU game, right? The defense gave up some key yards at the end of that game. How do you as a team regroup from that loss at home and rebuild the season off of that?
Yeah, I would say they started that last week with Purdue. I think, going out there and handling Purdue the way we did last week is huge for the confidence of everybody, and it's, a wake-up call, and you have everybody's going to come into Notre Dame Stadium and play their best game. It doesn't matter if it's, a MAC school, if it's a tiny school that you've never heard. Everyone's going to come and play their best game. So, as Notre Dame, you have to show up and, prepare like everyone's going to give you everything they have every week. And, luckily it happened early, right? And I think that gives us an opportunity to, continue to grow, continue to build, and win at home.
What's next for Matthias Farley after your NFL career?
Yeah, I'm planning to get into wealth management, so I'm studying for the licensing exams for that. I'm 32. I'm super grateful to get to spend every day with my wife, Sarah, and son, Holt. They're here. He's running around with cars somewhere. So, just super fortunate to get the time with him while he's young and really soaking that up. And 2025, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's a special day. It's Holt's first Notre Dame football game.
The Kool-Aid is being poured heavily. I have all the documentation to just flood his memory bank with. You've always loved Notre Dame, dude. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So it's been a really special weekend.
Thank you, Matthias.
Yeah. Well, have fun.
Here.
Thanks for having
me.
Come
back anytime.
I will.
All right.
Awesome. Well, it is going to be a hot one here on the campus of Notre Dame. I'm hot right now. I don't know about you guys, but we have a check of your game day forecast plus the change of stadium policy for today because of that heat. Stay with us.
Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff, taking a look high atop the Golden Dome right now, and that fog starting to lift just a little bit. And when it does lift, Allison, you're going to need some sunscreen and stay hydrated if you're coming to campus today. It's going to be a steamy one as the Irish get set to host Miami, Ohio in the house that Rockne built. Welcome back to Kickoff today. It's going to be a great day. Cautious optimism is what we called it going into today, and I think you still have to call it cautious optimism.
Yeah, we'll see. Temperatures are expected to climb into the high 80s, and because of that, every fan will be allowed to bring 2 20-ounce sealed water bottles into Notre Dame Stadium. Now, let's check in with our meteorologist, Dave Caulfield, who's live in the tailgate lots, to tell us more about these steamy conditions. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Allison and Vahid. You know, with that fog that was here this morning in South Bend, it was quite chilly with temperatures dropping in the 50s, so brought out the jacket. But now that fog has literally just lifted over the past 5 minutes, and boy, oh boy, that sun is still in summer mode. So no need for a jacket as we get closer to game time. Temperatures rising through the 60s and 70s as we head throughout the rest of the morning. We should be near 80 by the time we get into the early afternoon. And we actually could hit 90 today by later this afternoon. Game time temperatures likely in the upper 80s. So make sure you hydrate. Make sure you have the sunscreen on. It may not look like it right now where you are, but that fog getting out of here as we speak, setting up a very hot day. And we'll talk about this a little bit later in the show. If temperatures hit 90, that actually might be a good thing for this year's Notre Dame team. Usually, it's not very often we talk about 90-degree temperatures in the back half of September, but it might be just what the doctor ordered for the Irish. We'll send it back to you on set, live from the tailgate lots on campus. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield with ABC 57 Kickoff. I don't need this.
No, you certainly do not today.
Well, we did not get to see all 4 Irish quarterbacks in action for the first time this season. Riley Leonard ran for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He also completed 11 of 16 for another 112 yards, all in the first half.
Backup Steve Angeli completed 6 of 9 passes for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, giving the Irish their first passing TD of the season. He also added 12 rushing yards, but he was sacked 2 times. Now, Kenny Minchie added another rushing touchdown of his own, and freshman C.J. Carr even took a couple of snaps. So all of the QBs were getting in on the action. Riley, of course, still looking for that first passing TD of the season.
You know, I think it's going to come today. I think it's going to come today. But again, we were talking about this earlier with Levon about that offense, doubling down on who Notre Dame is. And this team this year is a running team. So if we don't see a passing touchdown today, I don't think we should be surprised or even concerned maybe.
Right. I mean, I think in the long run, when you have some of the better teams on your schedule, you can't be one-dimensional.
100%.
But right now, against Purdue, hey, if you needed it or didn't need it, what works.
But isn't it a time to try it then
Sure.
and see what works? We'll see. He may be the head coach of Miami, but there's no denying the love Chuck Martin has for the Irish in Notre Dame Stadium. We'll share his story and connection when we come back.
My personal opinion, we're going to the greatest venue on the planet.
We are here at Judy's and Satori's to check out their game day gear so we can have you tailgating like a champion. They are known for their beautiful jewelry and accessories, but also their relaxed weekend looks.
The vest is by Heartloom and the denim by Spanx.
All the way to high-end fashion.
Kim is wearing French candy necklace and the Mauritius Superstar jacket with the gold metallic stars on the back.
They'll have you ready for whatever your event calls for.
So one of the reasons I was really excited to be able to come here today was not just because of the cool outfits for game day and for ABC57 Kickoff, but we got nominated for an Emmy Award.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we get to go to Chicago for the awards ceremony. Okay. And I am in the market for more of a fancy, glamorous type dress.
Allison is ready in this stunning dress by Frank Lyman. It's gorgeous. I love the color. This is, I think, the perfect dress for Allison. It's by Alex Evenings. It has a embellished neckline. It just looks stunning.
I'm ready for the outfits. Ooh, I like that one. You got a little Michigan going on in there.
Michigan?
I don't know. What do you think?
How dare you? This is
I love it.
Old school Notre Dame gold. I love the sweater. It's so cozy.
Nice. All right, what's next? Hey!
Is this more Notre Dame gold for you?
That. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I feel a little MC Hammerish here, but I think these are so fun.
Outfit number 3. Let's go Irish. Ooh.
Sophisticated.
Very classy. This is the last one here. What do we got? We are ready. Are you ready? I'm ready. Allison, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's see it. Okay. The shoes. I love the combo.
This is like totally my style for the show. It's kind of casual. You know, I love a short and I love a blazer. And so this kind of gives me a good combo. It's not too obvious, but at the same time, when I'm walking around the tailgates after the show's over, I'm going to feel like I fit right in and I'm ready for game day.
Winner.
All right.
Winner, Irish victory dinner.
That's a wrap.
Shout out to Satori and Judy's. That was a fun little twist on our tailgate traditions. And hey, the ladies need and want to look good on game day, right?
You know it, and you know I am a sucker for a blazer and some shorts. I will be ready to hit the tailgates as soon as we finish ABC57 Kickoff today, and maybe even a fancy dress for the Emmys in November.
Awesome, and that's right. We are nominated for our story, Vikings Strong. You can find that story on our website at ABC57.com. Well, one of the biggest Notre Dame fans on the planet will be facing off against the Irish today on the opposite sideline. Miami, Ohio head coach Chuck Martin.
My personal opinion, we're going to the greatest venue on the planet. I've been a diehard Notre Dame fan since probably the first thing my parents taught me. Wasn't you got to go to school and learn, was this is Notre Dame football, this is Notre Dame basketball. This is the only team that matters on the planet.
Well, Martin not only grew up a diehard fan, he also coached 4 seasons in South Bend under Brian Kelly, working as defensive backs coach and recruiting coordinator, and was then promoted to offensive coordinator and helped lead the Irish to the 2012 national championship game against Alabama. Martin also worked with current Notre Dame offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock. We asked him this week, who bleeds blue and gold more, Martin or Denbrock?
Well, it might be a contest to that one. I know Chuck, how much Chuck cares and loves for this place in Notre Dame, and we had a great few years here together, and that's some very good memories.
Well, of course, the Miami-Ohio connection does not end there. Check this out. This team is loaded with former Notre Dame assistants. The Redhawks offensive coordinator, Pat Welsh, and defensive coordinator, Bill Brecken, were on Notre Dame staff with Martin as an intern and a graduate assistant, and safeties coach Robert Blanton played for the Irish during Martin's tenure in South Bend. And, of course, the Redhawks quarterbacks coach, Gus Ragland, spent 4 seasons at Notre Dame from 2019 to 2022 as an offensive analyst.
And grad assistant running backs coach and recruiter. He was also Miami's starting quarterback the last time these two teams played nearly 7 years ago.
Well, very, very cool there. Well, 3 Notre Dame starters are out for the season. Unfortunately, the win at Purdue was costly.
The latest Irish injury report, plus offensive lineman Rocco Spindler on the special relationship that brought him to Notre Dame. The fans are out, and so are the Dinos today, as Miami of Ohio is in town to take on the Irish.
Super physical team, super talented. Just went to Purdue, put up 66 points, only gave up 7. So, it's going to be a challenge, but, we're ready for it. We like challenges.
Hit in your stomach that you, as a competitor, you can't get rid of. Ultimately, sometimes that's why you work a little bit harder. Use it as fuel, as motivation. I don't think we're going to forget what happened week 2. That's for sure.
Not another MAC team.
No, the Irish may be coming off a big win at Purdue, but that loss to Northern Illinois still lingers. It still stings, guys, as Notre Dame gets ready to take on Miami, Ohio. The Redhawks looking for their first win of the season. It's a 3:30 kickoff inside Notre Dame Stadium. And look at those guys. They got their bags going. They're ready to tailgate. Get the party started.
It's going to be a hot one, and people flooding campus here just over the last half hour or so. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Vahid Sadrzadeh.
And I'm Allison Hayes.
And it is a muggy one today, and cautiously optimistic is the word of the day, or the words of the day, for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish after a MAC loss at home 2 weeks ago. Very unexpected. And today they've got another tough test, unexpected test from a MAC team. We don't know what to expect.
And they're doing it with some of their key players on the sideline. The Irish may have won that game against Purdue, but they lost 3 key players last week. Here's a look at who's on the men. Defensive end Jordan Botello. This one hurts. And center Ashton Craig are both out for the season with knee injuries. Botello, a senior, already had 12 tackles for the Irish this season, as well as the sack. And he was just kind of starting to come alive. So he had big things in the works. And Craig, of course, a third-year sophomore, started the final 3 games for the Irish last season and the first 3 this fall. Right guard Billy Schrouth also left the game at Purdue with an injured ankle. Coach Freeman does expect that he will be out at least a few weeks. And then, of course, defensive end Josh Burnham, he is questionable for today. He missed last week after injuring his ankle against NIU. The good news, wide receiver Jordan Faison, he is expected to be full gone. He did sprain his ankle in the season opener at Texas A&M and missed the last 2 weeks.
Well, even with all of those injuries, Notre Dame's still effective at running the ball. We'll see if the wide receivers get the rock today, Allison, as that has been the biggest question with this offense is how much are they going to throw the ball? How much are they going to trust Riley Leonard to throw the ball downfield?
And that offensive line is a work in progress. Rocco Spindler is the next man up at right guard, getting the call last week at Purdue. He also started 10 games for the Irish last season before suffering a knee injury at Clemson. Rocco grew up in Michigan, but his grandpa was a diehard Notre Dame fan, and the last time they talked, Rocco made his longtime dream come true.
Like my whole childhood, like huge Notre Dame fan, and he wanted my father to go there, but ultimately chose somewhere else. I always told him, yeah, Grandpa, I'll go there. I'm the good little boy, I'll go do it. It was 2019, he was, deep in his cancer treatments, and my dad actually called me, goes, hey, your grandfather's pretty sick, he's in the hospital, like, let's go take a trip out to Scranton, PA. Well, at this time, I was getting recruited, as the top, offensive lineman in the country, like, I knew he probably wasn't going to be around, for me to, commit to the school that I wanted to go to, and at that time, I really didn't know where I was going to go. But in the back of my mind, I was like, hey, like, he loves Notre Dame, maybe I should tell him. And my last day there, I hung out with him in the hospital all day. It was just me and him, and, I said my goodbyes, and, my dad laughed out of the room, and, I kind of just whispered in his ear, and I was like, hey, Grandpa, I'm going to go to Notre Dame and play offensive line there. And he just looked at me, shook my hand, and, said, that's going to be the best decision you ever made. And, he said, good luck to you, and that was the last time I ever talked to him.
Rocco says coming to Notre Dame has been truly life-changing, and his grandfather has been with him every step of the way.
Just awesome. Rocco signed an NIL deal with Duke Cannon this season. That interview is from their series, The O-Line, featuring top offensive linemen from around the country. Episode 2 is all about Rocco and his family, his love of the outdoors, and, of course, growing up in Michigan.
The Irish are a 28-point favorite today. Sound familiar over the Redhawks? That's where they were against NIU. But where should you put your money? We go inside the lines, plus Levon's Parlay. Up next. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff and another one of my favorite segments of the show, Levon's Parlay. Levon, you cost me thousands of dollars the last time a MAC team was here in South Bend, and I'm worried the same thing's going to happen today.
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody, join the train. We all hurting here. So, listen, when you look at this game, I mean, these two teams, it's kind of hard to tell what Notre Dame is going to do in this matchup because you kind of get in two different, teams the last 2 weeks. You look at that Notre Dame game, they were 28-point favorites against Northern Illinois. Then a week later, they're 8-point favorites, but they win by 59 points. So you really don't know which two teams you are going to get when Notre Dame plays. That's kind of the issue right now. But listen, 2 weeks ago, I talked to Tim Murray with VCN, with Vegas Sports and Information Network, and he told us that that you should take Northern Illinois to cover the spread of plus 17. That means they can't lose by more than 17 points at halftime. Boy, was he right, and I was wrong. So I started the conversation with Tim just a few days ago by saying, Tim, I'm sorry, but let's see what he has to say this week about this matchup against Miami, Ohio.
Do Notre Dame fans, were they satisfied with Saturday in West Lafayette, or were they more angry? And that's where I kind of stand. I was a little bit more frustrated. Like, where was this 2 weeks ago against Northern Illinois? I think ultimately what I came back on was there was a market of over a half touchdown. Essentially, will Miami score a touchdown on Saturday? And I'm going to say yes, because I do wonder late in this game, Notre Dame's got a monster game against Louisville coming up. Look, Kennedy Urlacher and a lot of these young bucks showed really well against Purdue. But we know one thing, Chuck Martin, he loves Notre Dame, and he coached there. He's a fan of this program, but he's going to want to try to figure out a way to get his team into the end zone on Saturday.
Well, Saturday is here, and now we get a chance to look at this game and see what the heck will Notre Dame do when they play against Miami, Ohio. Listen, you don't want to get too fancy with this. I like what Tim Murray had to say here. Yes, I believe that this Miami, Ohio team will come out here and they will score at least 10 points or maybe even 9 points, put them over that 7.5 threshold. I believe in that because of their kicker. His name is, I forget his name, Zioban, something of that nature. I don't want to screw it up, so sorry, man. But
Too late, you already did.
I did, but he's responsible for 10 of the 22 points so far this season for Miami, Ohio. That's a big deal. His longest field goal is 43 yards. Okay, he's 75% this season. I believe he comes into Notre Dame Stadium. His name will be called on more than he would probably like in front of all of these fans that are trying to get a revenge on the MAC team. So I've got, in this Levon's Parlay this week, I'm taking Miami, Ohio to score over 7.5 points. I believe in the guys that Notre Dame will actually give up something later on in this matchup. And if they can get to the Notre Dame's 40-yard line, they might be in a kind of a green spot. But I'm also taking Notre Dame to win the first quarter by at least 7 points. And then for the first quarter total to be over 9.5 points. Notre Dame may score 2 touchdowns. They may score a touchdown and at least 1 or 2 field goals in this matchup. You're going to win your money back. You may not get more money, but you'll at least be even after this week.
Hopefully. When you see my prediction later on. Absolutely. Levon, thank you so much, my friend.
We'll have you come back in a little bit later for some more.
All right, appreciate that. Get y'all some money here today.
That's right. Well, the Irish will be wearing a special edition cleats today to help raise money for local charities. And get this, they were designed by a Notre Dame freshman.
We talk with him, plus how you can get your hands on these cool kicks. Cleats for a cause. The Fighting Irish will be wearing special shoes for both the game today against Miami, Ohio, and the walk to Notre Dame Stadium. The shoes will then be auctioned off with the money going to support 5 local charities.
The tennis shoes, custom made. We actually have a student at Notre Dame who hand-painted these. And so we'll have a bunch of them.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it, guys? We're super honored that you guys considered us and that Notre Dame's been a part of the Logan family for a long, long, long time.
I want to show you my cleats that have the Casey Center on them. So they personally individualize each cleats, and so there's the Casey Center logo right there.
These are custom shoes for the Casey Center with the little splatter paint and the logo and then ND and Under Armour.
These are my cleats that I have.
Wow.
We got the Center for the Homeless on there.
Oh my gosh.
When we do our players walk from the Basilica to the stadium, and so we have these slip suits on. So if you guys want, you can check it out. Wow. But yeah, so we'll all be wearing those.
You guys are obviously doing so much in the community. So I'm honored to be wearing your cleats on Saturday, and they turned out really well. We got the purple and green, and I think they're a great fit.
We'll be out there cheering for you. This is such a huge blessing to us as an organization.
For my cleats, I chose the Boys and Girls Club because I was sitting in your shoes at one point, and all my friends were here. We had Power Hour where I learned to do my homework. Some of the kids that went to my local Boys and Girls Club back home, I got them to sign a piece of paper, and then he actually put them all over the cleats.
Oh my goodness, these are cool.
Well, you heard Jack Kaiser there. Each pair of shoes and cleats the players will be wearing today was painted by a former Notre Dame student. Freshman Jerry Barca, the man behind the design. He joins us now here live. Thanks for joining us, Jerry.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Start us off with a little background of this project. How were you selected to be the designer? And, this Cleats for a Cause, why is it so near and dear to you?
Yeah, so last winter, I actually did my first project for Notre Dame. I painted shoes for the men's basketball team for their Coaches vs. Cancer game. And out of chance, I met Riley Leonard when I was dropping off a pair of shoes. I introduced myself. A couple months later, he called me in the middle of my track practice. And if I hadn't answered my phone that was in my bag, I wouldn't have the project that we had today. So, really, a really lucky experience. And the fact that it's for local charities that I've been able to work with in my high school career is even more awesome.
That is awesome. And, you worked closely with linebacker Jack Kaiser. That was kind of one of his roles. What was that process like working with him?
No, he's an extremely great person. Just to be around, you could see he's always just looking to make the community a better place. Always will, even when they're doing this Cleats for a Cause project, he's organizing other charity projects. Just nonstop, great guy, looking really exemplifying the Notre Dame being a force for good in the community.
And you mentioned that this wasn't your first Notre Dame project, that you actually started doing this with the Notre Dame men's basketball team last season when you were a senior in high school. When you said that Riley Leonard was calling you at track practice, that was at South Bend St. Joe High School, by the way. Yes. Very cool. But you said you kind of got the football one because of basketball. How did you get the basketball one?
I've had a connection in athletics through my dad, and they saw my work. They said they would let me know if they ever wanted to do a project, and a couple months later they reached out, and I was able to go in, interview all the players, and that's where it really kind of took off.
We were talking a little off air about kind of the process of you actually sitting down and designing all of these. Walk our viewers through that. What was that process like? How long did it take you per cleat if you had a special one to do?
Yeah, so I was able to, I work off whatever, they're very personal to the player. So they would pick a charity that they felt connected to, and then I would also ask them about a lot of personal things. So Jack Kaiser, for example, he grew up on a farm in Indiana. So on his cleat, I painted a farm in Indiana because I know what it looks like. You have Ben Morrison, he's from Arizona. You have the Phoenix Suns jersey, took some fonts from there. It's all personalized to a player. It would take anywhere from 12 to 16 hours. I would sit down for a day and work the whole day until I had it done. But yeah, interviewing all the players, talking to them, getting to know them. I can pick up on little small details. I do my own research. So then they have things on the shoe that they wouldn't even have expected.
Nice surprise.
Yeah.
This is actually a great day for me because it's my second interview with a Jerry Barca. Your dad also, Jerry Barca, works at Notre Dame, and many producing films to his credit, including the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, Catholics versus Convicts. What inspiration have you learned from your dad over the years about creativity process and getting into this kind of work?
Well, I mean, for starters, I wouldn't be here with you guys if it wasn't for him and his work in film production and now working at Notre Dame. As a kid, I would go to like all of his events and see his face up on the TV, and I'd be like, oh, I want that for myself. So now I'm starting to like try and separate myself from like, oh, I'm Jerry Barker, the shoe guy, where my face will now be on TV. I can always joke around with him like I'm on TV at a younger age than he was. But yeah, extremely grateful the support and the sacrifices that he's had to make, and being able to grow up around such a creative mind has truly been awesome.
You know, I think one of the coolest things about you is that while you are obviously an artist, your major is neuroscience?
Yes.
Those seem like two very opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. I've told myself not to major in like one of your hobbies, or else you'll tire it out, you'll get bored of it. So I really wanted to become this like well-rounded person, and I'm interested in like math sciences. All through high school I've been interested in it. So I figured neuroscience would be a great route.
Awesome.
Let me tell you why Notre Dame's future is bright. Right
yeah,
here,
no kidding.
A freshman at Notre Dame. Jerry, thanks so much for being with us, and congratulations. Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We'll be right back here on ABC 57 Kickoff.
Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. You know, we hear a lot about predictions on this show, and I wanted to share one that my friend Bill here told me, that the Irish are going to win today. Bill is the name of this unicorn here, and the Irish need all the luck they can get, and it is going to be a hot one out there, that is for sure. Your game day forecast, highs near 90 this afternoon. Kickoff temperatures in the upper 80s, will be very close to 90 during the game, and that is the latest 90-degree day potentially in the calendar since 2019. So not often that we talk about the back half of September and temperatures near 90, but that could be the secret sauce for Notre Dame. So far this year, they've played in 3 games, of course, and 2 of them have had high temperatures at the stadium that they played at. They were both away, the wins, that is, with temperatures in the 90s. The one they lost here 2 weeks ago, temperatures were in the 60s. So if we get to 90, that might be just what the doctor ordered for Notre Dame. for them to get a victory today. Maybe they're a hot weather team in 2024. Who knew? With Riley Leonard, the Alabama native, as their quarterback. So we'll be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a hot one. Make sure you have the hydration plan in place and that sunscreen, because that sun is very hot this time of year. We'll have much more on ABC 57 Kickoff when we come back.
Fight, 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 fight. Sacrifice, unselfish sacrifice. We're gonna get them on a run. We're gonna go, go, go. And we aren't gonna stop until we go that goal line. We are Notre Dame.
Get on the bus. Next stop, Notre Dame Stadium.
From the house that Rackney built to the dynasty of Air Parsegian, this is the home of Fighting Irish football.
The place where greatness is earned 1 yard at a time. The field that forged Notre Dame legends like Theismann, Montana, and Brown.
The land of never quit, never surrender. The legacy, the passion, the tradition. That is Notre Dame football.
ABC 57 Kickoff is back.
Bigger and better
than ever.
Another season of Fighting Irish football. It all starts here.
This is our house. This is our team.
And this is ABC 57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC 57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
We are just a few hours from kickoff here on the campus of Notre Dame. The last time the Irish played at home, the MAC ran them over. Today, they hope to take care of business against the Redhawks of Miami, Ohio.
Welcome back to Kickoff. I'm Vahid Sadrazadeh.
I'm Allison Hayes.
With Levon Whitaker.
Yes, sir. How's it going, guys?
No, man. I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you, because of the last time these two teams played. Notre Dame played a MAC team. It didn't really go that well for Riley Leonard. 2 interceptions. He hasn't really thrown deep this season for one reason or another. 62% of his passes completed, but they've all been dink and dunks on the sideline.
Yeah, in fact, Riley has only attempted 5 passes of 20 yards or more, but none of them have been caught. Levon Whitaker, we're bringing you in. Tell us what's going on with this passing game or lack thereof.
Well, listen, I wish I could tell you, but listen, you look back at that game against Purdue, sometimes a performance like that in that game can really prevent you from seeing the real issues in a team. Listen, 66 points, he looks great. 59 of those points come from the offense. And, yes, Notre Dame looked impressive, but something still seems to be off here with this offense, and it might even start with the quarterback, Riley Leonard.
It's no secret. Riley Leonard can run the ball. 3 touchdowns on the ground in 1 half.
There was one where he was going in the end zone. He stiff-armed the guy. I was like, man, he looks like a running back. And we were joking on the bus. We were like, Lamar Leonard or whatever.
The Lamar Jackson comparisons continue.
I think it was my vision and being mentally prepared.
But questions are rising about Leonard's ability to throw the ball downfield.
I think a strength of Riley is pushing the ball down the field. That's just my opinion as his coach. I'm no quarterback guru.
Neither am I. But Leonard has completed 49 of 78 pass attempts, bringing him to 433 passing yards, 2 interceptions, and still searching for his first touchdown in the air.
My job's to get 4 yards of play. Doesn't matter how I do it.
For the most part, the only way he's done it is on the ground.
If we need to throw it to have success, I'm sure we'll game plan in a way that, we'll have to throw it. But it's about what's going to have success against the defense you're going against. And Riley did a great job running and making the throws. I think he was 11 of 16.
It worked against Purdue. But when I asked offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock about Leonard running the ball, instead of maybe throwing to open receivers, it sounds like he's thinking about the longevity of the season.
We've got to get more consistent in the passing game and how we throw it, where we throw it, why we throw it, being at route depth, making catches, doing all the things that you need to do to be a successful pass offense. We're still struggling a little bit with some consistency there that's got to get better.
Well, Denbrock also mentioned that this is something that he knew would take some time this season. He calls it a work in progress to get Riley to trust his legs the way that he trusts his receivers the way that he trusts his legs. Yeah. Right now, his longest completion throughout this season has been 23 yards.
Well, here's my question, though. A senior who's coming over to Notre Dame, who's passed for 3,000 yards at Duke in previous seasons, a work in progress or something going on that we don't know of with Riley Leonard?
I think you got to call a spade here. I mean, I think Notre Dame, they could have possibly went and got the wrong quarterback out of the transfer portal. We've seen what he did against our defense last year. Dinks and dunks and relied on his receivers to get what we call YAC, yards after the catch. That's what he's spending on here.
That's exactly what he's doing here.
Exactly. That's why he's gotten those longer completions. Actually, the one that he's actually thrown 20 yards was to Bo Collins on the sideline in a pivotal moment against Texas A&M. Riley Leonard has to air the ball out and really trust his guys. Take the top off, make the mistakes, and learn from them.
Well, and what do you do if you're Chris Mitchell, who came over and transferred? If you're Bo Collins, I mean, what do you do if you're Jaden Thomas? I mean, you have such a great wide receiving core that's not getting the ball.
Yeah, at this point, it's not the receivers.
Yeah, which was the case last year.
If you are.
But it makes you think, though, was Chancey Stuckey, the receivers coach last year, was he an issue? Or was it the fact that you just don't have the right guys back there throwing the ball? I think this would be a great offense, if we're talking about last year, for Sam Hartman to throw the ball to these type of receivers. I've been saying that since the beginning. I think this is the perfect offense, granted, the inexperience of the offensive line.
Well, the Irish hoping history will not repeat itself today as they get ready to face off against another MAC opponent in Miami, Ohio. What do the Irish need to look out for? It's time to ask the experts with the voice of longtime Redhawks football, Steve Baker, when we come back here on ABC 57 Kickoff.
The opponent, an unranked MAC team. The location, Notre Dame Stadium. A bit of deja vu for the Irish today as they get ready to take on Miami, Ohio. What can we expect from this Redhawks team?
It's time to ask the experts joining us now to break down this Miami University team, the voice of the Redhawks, Steve Baker. Steve, you got your start at Miami, Ohio in the 80s, and you've been calling football games and almost all Redhawks sports since 2001. Welcome to our show on ABC 57.
Thank you. It's actually my 37th year because I actually started working the games back in 1984 and calling some of the games. So.
You've been here before?
Or
First time?
Oh, yeah. I was here in 2017, and one of the biggest iconic places on the planet as far as college football is concerned. So you got to come here, and you just got to walk around and see everything.
Well, before we get into these, the football questions, we have a really serious question. We got to know. The conversation all week has been, you're not supposed to say Miami of Ohio.
Right.
Why? What is the big deal?
It is just something that has always stuck with Miami because nobody says Miami of Florida, and Miami was a university before Florida was a state. So, we go back to 1809, and it is just something that, every school has their thing. Ohio University says, don't call us OU. It is Ohio University, the Ohio State University. It is Miami, Ohio.
It's an Ohio thing.
Or just Miami University will work just fine.
It's hard to get rid of the of.
Yeah,
after you've been
it
saying
is.
It
yeah, it is.
Reprogram myself.
Yeah.
Well, for viewers who don't know much about this Miami, Ohio team, coming off two hard-fought battles against two legit teams in Northwestern and Cincinnati, kind of describe the style of football that the Redhawks play.
It is Chuck Martin football, hard-nosed football. Defense keeps you in the game, and the offense will grind it out. This team has, I can't think of a game under Chuck Martin's regime that we've actually just blown somebody out. This is a team that will grind it out and keep as close as you can and hope to make that play. Just be one play better than the opponent. And that's really the style of football. Again, today, it's all on the defense. I don't want to say all on the defense because the offense has got to put points on the board, but the defense has got to keep us close.
Well, we know this offense could put up a bunch of yards. They aired it out last week against Cincinnati for a long one as well. Brett Gabbert, and on the flip side of that, does Notre Dame, what do they do today? Can they take advantage of any weaknesses on that offense?
I think the better question is, can we take advantage of anything on Notre Dame's defense to move the football, and that'll be the challenge. Brett Gabbert is a true leader. I mean, he absolutely leads this team. Both sides. I mean, when you think about it, Brett went down halfway through the season last year, and this team rallied around that and rallied to a championship a year ago. He comes back and says he's coming back during the spring. Matt Salopek, who is in his final season, the quarterback of the defense, rather than transfer in the portal, said, hey, that's my guy, I'm staying. And everybody else kind of stayed around as well. And so he's the leader on this team. Can throw the ball. He can run the ball. Miami's running game has really struggled, no doubt about it. You're going against two Power 5 teams and big linemen, everything else. And so I know Chuck Martin. I know he's going to try and run the ball today. I don't know how much success he's going to have against that defensive line, but he's going to try and run the ball some today before we air it out.
And that leads me right into the next question. On the opposite end of that offensive spectrum, just a total of 64 rushing yards in 2 games this season. Why are they just struggling to establish the run game?
Well, they've had trouble protecting Brett, number one. So a lot of that yardage goes away on a sack or a tackle for loss, and so that has hurt. But I think trying to find there are so many guys in the running back room and so many different styles. Keon Mosey's a light, quick guy, and then you got Jordan Brunson and Downing, who are bigger backs, and trying to find the right style. I think we're going to need the durable big backs today to be able to run the ball against Notre Dame. But and quite honestly, it's Brett's first game back. He wasn't 100% until fall camp. He missed all of spring and a lot of fall. So he's just getting the timing in the passing game. Looked better in the second half, but getting all that down and getting the running game going is on Brett.
What has Chuck Martin done for this program, specifically bringing in these assistant coaches, that played at Notre Dame, that played with them? What has he done for this program?
That's a great question because, Chuck, in his 11th year, came in, to Miami, and, I mean, Miami and Notre Dame, despite the disparages of the size and everything else, are like programs. I mean, at Miami, we have the Cradle of Coaches. Era Parsegian is a big part of the Cradle of Coaches. Had a chance to talk with Era several times. But, that is a big part of the history of the program, the history of, big wins over big programs. And then there's the academic side. You get a degree from Miami University, you're getting a quality degree. Same thing here at Notre Dame. It is God Country Notre Dame, and, you get that degree, you're going to be a success. He built on that. He didn't want anybody that didn't want to come to Miami and get a degree. Yeah. And he built a program, something I don't know you can do right now with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last time we had the opposing radio guy on the show, we lost.
I'm hoping.
So we'll see what happens today. Steve, thanks so much for
thank
joining
you guys.
us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're watching ABC 57 Kickoff. We'll be right back. Every Notre Dame fan knows of Coach Era Parsegian and the Irish legacy he left behind. But at Miami, Ohio, he's also larger than life. Era graduated from Miami, Ohio, and was a three-sport athlete. The legendary coach also started his career there and is part of the university's Cradle of Coaches, as we just heard Steve say, although Era is wearing his Notre Dame sweater in his statue. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff as the Irish get ready to take on the Redhawks here at Notre Dame Stadium. The Notre Dame running backs were on full display last week, along with their quarterback. Combined 362 yards on the ground at Purdue. Jeremiah Love, the main guy, racked up his first 100-yard rushing game of his career.
Yeah, and the running backs are coached by Dylan McCullough, who also played for Miami, Ohio. In fact, he was named to the All-MAC team 3 times. He also developed a close relationship with his coach there, Sherman Smith. But it turns out that bond was deeper than either one of them imagined. Notre Dame running backs coach Dylan McCullough grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. He was raised by his adoptive mother, Adele Comer. His adoptive father left when he was 2 years old. Dylan never knew his birth parents.
Who's my family? Who's this? Who's that?
A standout on the football field, sports gave him the opportunity for life outside of Youngstown. That's how he met Sherman Smith. an assistant coach at Miami University of Ohio.
Little skinny running back, at Campbell Memorial High School. And I just remember first watching film on him, just how hard he ran, just how determined he ran. He was a little guy that ran like a big man, that he was running with an attitude.
He was the coach for Miami of Ohio, and he came into my school. And I remember when he came in there, just seeing him and just, his stature and just, good-looking guy, well-spoken, put together, successful, college degree, played in the NFL. I mean, all those things I hadn't. In Youngstown, you don't just see that walking around all the time, let alone walking to your school to recruit you.
Sherman also grew up in Youngstown and was a star athlete, a running back at Miami of Ohio and in the NFL, accumulating nearly 6,000 all-purpose yards and 28 touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks and San Diego Chargers. The two just hit it off, an instant connection.
And just the way he carried himself and just the disposition that he had, it was something that you were drawn to. So immediately, just because of his character and just his presence, I was drawn to him.
I always looked at every guy that I recruited. I would always say, you may not be looking for a father, but I'm going to treat you like you're my son. But he needed someone, I came in, I was just a father figure, someone that, talk to him just like I did with my own kids.
Sherman would ascend the ranks, winning a Super Bowl as the Seattle Seahawks running backs coach. Dieland's career took off as well, from Mid-American Conference Freshman of the Year to the NFL, and his own rise up the coaching ranks. He also won a Super Bowl as the running backs coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. All the while, Sherman and Dieland remained close and talked often.
And I always asked him, why do you want to be a head coach? Why do you want to coach? Why do you coach? And so understanding your why impacts how you do it. So I was always just trying to get to the reason why he wants to do what he's doing. And then, just his motivation behind it and just making sure that he stays focused on.
He definitely was, a mentor / father figure for me, because I always knew what I was getting with him, which was a high-level person.
While Dieland experienced success both professionally and personally, there was always something missing.
Yes, I had a phenomenal family, adoptive family and everything. That's my family. And but you always wonder, like, okay, my deep voice, now there's just things you always wondered about, like, where did it come from?
In 2017, a state adoption records law changed, allowing Dieland access to his birth certificate, where he discovered his biological mother.
I found out when I finally got what's called my original birth record was sent to me from the state of Pennsylvania, and it had my mom's name on there, didn't have her dad's. So I ended up, tracking my mom that night, and I said, I got any brothers and sisters? She said, no, I never had any more kids, never got married.
Carol Briggs was just 16 years old when she found out she was pregnant. She was also from Youngstown, but was sent to the Zor Home for Mothers, Babies, and Convalescents in Pennsylvania. She delivered her baby boy, John Kenneth Briggs, and immediately put him up for adoption to give him the life she could not provide. She never told the father, a young athlete who was about to head off to college.
And then I said, well, shoot, who's my dad? And there's no way I expect her to say what she said. She said, your dad is a man named Sherman Smith. And I just was like super emotional because she said, what? I said, oh, I know him, And she said, well, how do you know him? And then I told her. So it was, I was blown away, completely blown away.
The man who had been a father figure, mentor, and friend for the past 30 years was Dieland's biological father all along.
It hit me like a bomb went off. And it was great news, but at the same time, it was a shock to me because I didn't expect that. Like I said, Dieland knew that he was looking for his biological parents, and so he was in search of something. And I was a guy that didn't know that I had a son, and so I was taken by surprise by the whole conversation.
Sherman was now married with 2 adult children. Dieland was also married with children of his own. After the shock wore off, reality set in.
When I told Sharon, Allison, there was no processing for her. Her first comment was, well, our family just got bigger, and I want to go meet my grandkids. So our family, the 3 people that I was concerned about the most, they embraced it with open arms. They were excited about it, and we haven't looked back since.
Very emotional and surreal all at the same time. My dad says it was a God thing, just the timing of it and how everything came together. But, the fact that he was always involved in my life. Right now, we're just, enjoying it, how all the families have come together and just bonded around this and just continuing to build our relationship.
Just an absolutely incredible story. I can't get over it. Every time I get goosebumps. Deland and Sherman were both running backs. Both coaches won Super Bowls. They also told me that over the years, people would say they had the same mannerisms, that they looked similar. It's just crazy. There have been talks about turning their story into a movie. They're shopping that around, and it was actually already featured on a documentary called Show Me the Father.
Imagine having a father-son duo that's won a Super Bowl. So rare, such a great story. Awesome. A dream come true for dozens of youth football players. They get to see Notre Dame take on the Redhawks today. And it's all thanks to their hometown hero, Jack Kaiser.
That's right. We're going to talk to the Pioneer youth football team, plus how the Notre Dame linebacker and captain is being honored for his good works.
Irish fans are getting younger and younger, and we absolutely love it. Hey, guys, what's going on? We're going to talk to them here in just a moment. A big honor for Coach Marcus Freeman and linebacker Jack Kaiser this week. Both were named to the All-State AFCA Good Works team that recognizes college football athletes and one coach for their unwavering community support and commitment and good works off the field.
Freeman is actually the first Notre Dame coach to be in that group, which is fascinating to me. Now, Kaiser is also a semifinalist for the prestigious Werfel Trophy, a small-town Indiana guy. Jack is making a big impact on his community, not just here in South Bend, but back in his hometown of Royal Center, too.
Growing up in a small community, it seems like everybody's doing something for somebody, right? You're taking care of your neighbor, and whatever they need, you're helping them out, and if you need something, they're there for you. So I guess just coming from that background, when I got here, that was just kind of my mindset. How can I help?
Notre Dame linebacker Jack Kaiser has done a lot of good, from spending time with kids at the Ronald McDonald House at Memorial Hospital in South Bend, to serving as the team leader with Fighting Irish Fight for Life, a program that pairs local pediatric patients with Notre Dame student athletes and makes them an honorary teammate. Jack participates with uplifting athletes, spending time with children with rare diseases.
To come out here and be with these families, having the relationship with them now, like
it just makes it that much more special.
He is also the player committee chairman for the Cleats for a Cause initiative. The Irish will wear custom footwear to raise awareness for local nonprofits and then auction those special shoes off with the money benefiting those organizations. As chairman, Jack worked with the designer, selected the charities, and set up appearances for his teammates.
We're really excited about it, and there are going to be some really cool slip speeds that we'll get a walk from the Basilica to the stadium in, and then we'll also have cleats that we're going to auction off that are personalized to a couple players on the team with the charities on them. So it's just a great way to highlight all the good the charities do, and it gives the players a platform to kind of give back to the communities.
The valedictorian at Pioneer High School, Jack is a member of the National Football Foundation National Honor Society and was recognized for the top grade point average in Notre Dame's Master of Science in Accountancy and prepared tax returns for local low-income families.
There's areas in South Bend community that need help, so it's been really amazing to give back and help the community and try to, make some people smile and do whatever good I can.
This summer, Jack had the opportunity to partner with DirecTV to pull off a big surprise for some kids in his hometown with the Pioneer Football League, the same program Jack played in as a kid.
Well, guess what? So, me and my friends with DirecTV, we're going to go ahead and, for the Miami of Ohio game, we're offering you guys tickets to come to Notre Dame. Come to Notre Dame Stadium, watch the Fighting Irish play Miami of Ohio.
I was thrilled, right, to be able to give back to the youth league that kind of helped mold me and shape me into the football player I am, and was so big a part of me. It's just a no-brainer for me.
What was their reaction like when you were actually giving them the tickets?
It was funny. The kids were actually a little intimidated and scared at first, right? But then after I told them about the tickets and stuff, and I was like, you guys excited? And then they kind of let loose and were really giddy for it. But you can just tell they're excited to come watch football at Notre Dame, right? Going to Notre Dame Stadium. And so it's a big deal to them. It's a big deal to me.
And the Pioneer Panthers had a surprise for Jack, too.
It was our high school fight song, and so I joined in with them. It was pretty fun. Those kids are so innocent, so pure, and they're so excited and happy. It really warms your heart.
Well, we are joined now by the Pioneer youth football team behind us. Yeah! Their coach, Justin Schnurple, and quarterback Tate Berry. And this is a question for both of you to start. What was the team's reaction? And Tate, we'll start with you when Jack and DirecTV showed up to surprise you with the tickets.
We were just excited to go to the game, and as a team, we try our best in the games, and we're just excited.
Was it kind of a shock, a surprise when he was there?
Yeah, it was a shock.
Yeah.
It was a shock.
Yeah, it was great. Some of the kids haven't had a chance to go to a college football game, and to be able to see a local hero and spend the day here, they were all really excited. So it was great.
So awesome. I just loved everything about this. And Justin, I'll start off with you, but Jack is a bit of a local legend in Royal Center, to say the least, right? He led Pioneer to 2 state championships as the quarterback and was named Mr. Football from the state of Indiana. What kind of impact has Jack had on your small community?
Yeah, he was the first ever 1A Mr. Football. So, I mean, every kid that plays football wants to be Jack Kaiser. And, even when he was younger, you could tell he had something special about him. So it was really fun watching him go through high school, go through, junior high, and you just knew that he was a born leader, and he was the smartest football player on the field, knew every position. So, yeah, it was great. It was awesome watching him.
Well, and your son actually played center with Jack at Pioneer. How special of an experience was that?
He actually played guard, but he was a center after Jack left. But yeah, he was a guard, and it was great because he got to learn from him. He was a coach on the field, so he got to see what he needed to do as a player to be successful. So yeah, he was really fortunate to be on that team.
And Tate, I know you've known Jack since you were just a little kid. You're a big guy now, of course, but you've known him for very many years. Just how was that relationship started? How did you get to know him?
Because when my dad, he coached him in high school. Like you said, won 2 state championships with him. He was Mr. Football, greatest player ever from Pioneer.
And I noticed you wear the same number that Jack wore in high school. You play the same position at quarterback.
He's got his autograph on his hat, too.
How much of an inspiration was Jack for you as a football player?
He's a good leader. Like Justin said, he knows everything. He knows every position, so he can teach anyone on the field, and that's just cool.
And what has he taught you? What pieces of advice has he given you that you take on to the football field every time you go in quarterback?
To never give up, be a leader, support your team.
And how have you seen Jack and really his entire family influence this youth football program? His brother also played college football, sister ran track, very athletic family. So talk about that influence for Pioneer Youth Football.
Yeah, Jack's dad coached youth football for a long time. And so I took over a couple years after he was done. But Jack, when he was in high school, used to come out and help with the youth football team. So, I mean, they just never stopped giving back to the younger kids. They were always involved, and his dad really helped me as a coach too. Anytime I ever had an issue, I could go to him, and we would go to coaching conferences together in Pittsburgh, and he's just always been there. So the whole family is just really a good family for our community.
Well, Jack told me that he is going to meet with the team after the game today. You get an opportunity to talk to him. What do you guys want to say to him?
That he did great. He's about ready to go to the NFL, hopefully after this year. So I just want to watch him on TV, and basically this is his last year at Notre Dame. So we're just excited for him.
This dude right here, I love you. That was awesome. You did great today. I hope you guys have so much fun. I hope the Irish get a win for you.
Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, guys. Go Irish!
Go Irish! There's still much more to come here on ABC57. Stick around.
A big win on the road. A loss at home to a MAC opponent. A big win on the road. Have the Irish learned how to handle success?
You can't take a loss to have the mentality that we have to have.
Coach Freeman's focus for Miami, Ohio. And they say go big or go home.
I had my hand out, they all clapped my hand.
But for Helen's 90th birthday and first game at Notre Dame Stadium, she tailgated it like a champ.
And wonderful, more than what I thought it would be.
with the same rich tradition of the Irish.
Wake up the echoes cheering your name.
Send the volley cheer on high.
Shake down the thunder from the sky.
What though the odds be great or small?
Old Notre Dame will win overall.
While her loyal sons and daughters
march on to victory.
It's Tim Brown, Heisman Trophy winner, and you're watching ABC 57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC 57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
Oh, yeah, they're ready. They're partying. Let's go. The Irish hoping to get their first home win of the season. That's crazy to say. Taking on Miami, Ohio today, another unranked MAC team. The Redhawks are 0-2 and have never beaten Notre Dame. The Irish intend to keep it that way. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes.
I'm Vahid Sadrazadeh. Hopefully the Irish are dancing in the end zone after many, many touchdowns today, and we're all cautiously optimistic that'll happen against a MAC team here back at Notre Dame Stadium.
Well, the season so far has been a tale of two teams for the Irish. In the loss to NIU, Notre Dame had 2 turnovers and less than 5 yards per play with 123 rushing yards.
But in the wins over Purdue and Texas A&M, the Irish averaged 280 yards on the ground, nearly 7 yards per play, and are +4 in the turnover column. The question, which Notre Dame team will we see today? In this week's Freeman's Focus, head coach Marcus Freeman sticks with a tried and true formula.
As fans, we oftentimes overanalyze the losses, and maybe we take for granted those easy wins. To head coach Marcus Freeman, the outcome of football games,
We won the turnover margin, rushing battle, third down battle, explosive play battle, and time of possession.
comes down to a simple equation.
If you win those key areas, you're going to win a football game.
Maybe, just maybe, we as fans are making it too complicated.
It's a different defense than what we saw last week, and every week as you go into preparation, you have to take into consideration what your guys can do well, but also what's going to help you have success versus the defense you're going against.
But what exactly was the difference between weeks 1 and 3, where the Irish scored a combined 89 points while adding 934 yards of total offense, and week 2, where Notre Dame scored only 14 points and had 286 yards of offense at home?
You still have to be committed to running the ball.
And maybe that's our answer.
You have to be patient, but you also, as what happened 2 weeks ago, you can't go 3 and out, and you just say, okay, let's keep running the ball. You got to move the chains and you got to change the field position. So we got a couple guys that can run the ball and take it all the way. We know that, and so we got to continue to play to our strengths.
Tackling that problem becomes even more complicated, as the Irish are down 2 more offensive linemen due to injury. But by any measure, Marcus Freeman's math is correct. Winning should be a straightforward game of addition. X's plus O's equals victories.
You can't take a loss to have the mentality that we have to have mentally and physically to prepare the right way for an opponent.
No matter the sum of our fears, we should and need to accept the outcome that's dealt to us, because after all,
that's what our identity is. We want to be able to run the ball.
That is the identity of this football team under this head coach.
No, at any point, you can beat any team you play and you can lose any team you play. That's the beauty of college football. And so we got to prepare and understand that as we prepare.
And yes, sometimes it is not that simple, Allison, but that will be the formula for Marcus Freeman and company moving forward this season for the very first time. We heard that word in person, identity. It seems like he didn't really want to say we're a running team, but they are, and that will be moving forward in 2024.
They had kind of gotten away from that. He had said that long ago, that he wanted this to be an O-line, a D-line driven team and run the ball. But then this preseason, we asked, what's the identity of this offense? And it was, it's a work in progress.
A work in progress, and that worries me just a little bit. but it seems like they found their running game. They found the formula on the ground, and we'll see if they can carry that all the way and keep winning this season with that formula.
Yes, that is correct. Well, hey, she's about to turn 90, but that didn't stop Helen Weeks from tailgating like a champion. We first introduced you to this lifelong Irish fan 2 weeks ago. We take you inside her first experience at Notre Dame Stadium next.
It's been the most exciting day I've had in my life.
You may remember Helen Weeks, a guest here on ABC57 Kickoff 2 weeks ago. Helen grew up on the west side of South Bend and graduated from Washington High School in 1952. That same year, she married her sweetheart, Willie, and the couple shared a passion for Notre Dame sports and became women's basketball season ticket holders.
But despite being a Notre Dame fan her entire life, she had never been to a football game here at Notre Dame Stadium.
Well, Helen turns 90 years old on October 5th. That happens to be the bye week, by the way. And to help celebrate, her good friend Ellen made her wish come true and bought her tickets to the home opener. This is a special day for you, and I know that this was maybe a little birthday present from a friend.
Oh, yes. I had my hand out, they all clapped my hand. We went to, I don't know, Ellen would have to tell me all the places. I can't remember, but it's been so exciting.
We went to a couple tailgates. We did some beanbag toss, and Helen almost got it in. Almost. She was this close to the hole, so darn it. But we had a wonderful time.
Wave it around.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Ma'am, welcome to Notre Dame.
Thank you.
It is well worth the wait.
Oh, yes.
Here's the date right here, 19. Section 19, row 38.
1819.
Yep. Here you go, Helen. Here you are.
This way?
Oh, what a beautiful day.
Oh, yes. Now, when they run out, where do they run out to Mother Rich's Island?
Yep. How has your experience been so
It's
far?
been wonderful. More than what I thought it would be.
Really?
Oh, yes. I thought I'd just interview with you and that would be it.
And it just keeps getting better and better.
Better. It's been the most exciting day I've had in my life.
Please welcome Father Robert A. Dowd, CSC.
Want to sit on your coat?
No, I'm going to leave it like this for now.
Okay.
That must be the students over there.
Yep.
From seeing the band come out and being inside the stadium, because I've never been inside the stadium. So seeing the band and then the players all come out and all that was the best. It's huge, isn't it?
It is.
What was your expectation for inside here, and then how did it meet or exceed those expectations?
Oh, I don't know. It's just been such a terrific time and everything. And I didn't think it was that big, but because, don't show that big on TV and everything. But,
So it's bigger than you thought?
Oh, yes. But with 80,000 people, I imagine it has to be big. I had my picture taken with a bunch of the players and all that.
Nice. And Manti Te'o, you got to meet Manti?
Yes, it was wonderful.
What did he say to you?
He just talked, just about different things. About how he wished he was playing again and stuff like that. But he loves Notre Dame, and so do I. I don't know why it took me so many years to come to Notre Dame.
Was it worth the wait?
Oh, yes. But then I wish we would have came sooner.
How appreciative are you of Ellen for hooking you up for your birthday?
Her husband is the best friends I've ever had in my life. We live right by each other. They take care of me. They do everything for me. If I need anything, they're right there to help me.
So how's this?
Good. Probably make me more excited. I want to come to more games.
Best birthday ever?
Thank you.
Well, happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much.
And go Irish.
Oh, go Irish.
Oh, I'm a little teary-eyed, I admit it. Just thank you. You did a great job putting that together, and we had so much fun with Helen and Ellen. And, I've been talking back and forth with Ellen over the past few weeks. We've been exchanging pictures. She told me that Helen said, I wish I would have said in that interview in our story that she was actually glad that she waited until she was 90 to attend her first football game, because she said she was treated like a queen here all day.
She is very spry for 90, and we all hope we can be like Helen when she is older. But I have to tell you, sometimes we take advantage of being here and having this front row seat, and this will just, it goes so far to show you never take advantage of a situation like this, and always enjoy the moment when you have it.
And I will say this too, we have had, that was a great show. We had Manti Te'o on live. After we had Ellen and Helen on, I got text messages from people. I was getting blown up about how awesome and how much they absolutely loved Helen. They were more excited about Helen than they were Manti. Manti who?
We're going to have her on again. She's a huge draw. Happy birthday, Helen. It is steamy out here. A final check of the game day forecast when we come back. Plus, our game day predictions. Miami, Ohio out here tailgating as well.
Meteorologist Dave Caulfield here with your game day forecast. I'm almost done with this water bottle here, and hydration will be key. You're going to need to get another one quickly because since we've been on the air on ABC 57 Kickoff, temperatures in South Bend have warmed up nearly 15 degrees. We are making our way close to 90 by the time we get closer to game time. Kickoff temperatures likely in the upper 80s. Make sure you stay hydrated. Lots of sunscreen today. That sun is strong still this time of year. The last full day of summer, definitely going to feel like it. Will the Irish feel good on this very hot day? We'll have to wait and see. From the tailgate lots, meteorologist Dave Caulfield with ABC 57 Kickoff.
All right, that gets you hyped up. I'm ready to go. We got to get our final predictions in here with Levon. We're going to start this one off. How many passing touchdowns does Notre Dame score today in this game?
Listen, I don't – it's kind of hard to choose. I think they get one today because –
That's fair.
You don't know what you're going to get out of this offense with – will Stephen Jelly get on the field? If he's on the field, I'm taking two. Riley Leonard out there, majority of the game, one touchdown passing in there.
That's why I have three. I think that Riley Leonard gets off the schneid today and gets a passing touchdown. Less than 20 yards, but he gets a passing touchdown.
But he is always our ultimate optimist here on ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm going with two. I think Riley Leonard gets one, and a backup if he comes in, which you'd like to think they're in position to have Angeli come in. He's going to get one as well. All right, next up, how many rushing yards will Miami, Ohio put up against this Notre Dame defense? Levon.
I'm going with 70. I'm being optimistic now. I'm taking your role here. I know they're not a good rushing team. I think somehow, some way, they get some garbage time yards and they, kind of push things up to that 70-yard mark.
Notre Dame, they hold them to 45 points on the ground. I don't think Miami of Ohio is to the caliber that Notre Dame is right now. That defense is playing well.
Don't forget, Levon, they only have 64 total rushing yards in 2 games this season. For the season.
Unfortunately, people come here and they upset Notre Dame. As long as it's not upset in the win, I'll take the rushing yards.
They have a career game. I've got them giving up 34 rushing yards in this one. All right, and to wrap this up, our final score predictions. How about you, Vahid?
All right, you're putting me on the spot here. I went 52-0 against the last MAC opponent, but I was closer against the Big Ten opponent, and I'm still doubling down because the law of averages, add that to Levon's parlay, is coming true today. 2 field goals. You talked about the field goal kicker, 44-6. The Irish get it done, and I'm taking Notre Dame and those 27.5.
Look, I know I said that. I thought that I'm saying 35-7 for my final score prediction, but I'm going to bump that up 35-10 because I do believe, or even 35-9, I do believe that Miami, Ohio will get around that 9-point mark. And it might be on in the hands of the kicker. He may be the guy that
feeling that field goal.
Yeah, I'm feeling that field goal. I like the guy, just like I like Mitch Jeter. That's my guy. Okay. All
right. Well, I got him at 38-10, a Notre Dame victory, of course. I kept it down just a little bit because I do think there's a lot of mutual respect, and I think they have a lot of respect for Chuck Martin. I don't think they're going to run it up. I think they let out that aggression against Purdue. It's a little more tempered down. They give up a few points, but they get a much-needed win.
Well, with the relationship of Mike Denbrock and Chuck Martin, I believe Denbrock might say, I'm going to give you something to remember. He may up the ante a little bit later on in the game.
It's a 3:30 kick inside Notre Dame Stadium. We hope you enjoyed watching the show from wherever you take in ABC 57 Kickoff.
Thanks for watching. Go Irish.
Go Irish.
Go Irish.